Welcome to this week's edition of Jared and Lincoln Go to the Movies. I'm Lincoln.
I'm Jared.
Right on. So we're kind of playing with the format a little bit. Let us know what you think of us doing it this way. But yeah, let's kick it off with the bunch of new trailers have been released lately
Since our last talk.
since we last got together, and we did Endgame last time.
So makes sense to talk about Spider-Man first.
Yeah, let's talk about the brand new SpiderMan trailer that came out not that long ago.
Yeah. One thing I think that's great about it, obviously I'm excited about it.
And let's preface this. If you still haven't seen Endgame,
we don't feel bad for you at this point.
we don't feel bad, but there's also going to be Endgame spoilers because Tom Holland even prefaces the trailer with, "Hey, don't watch this trailer until you've seen Endgame." So, yeah, skip ahead or just turn the video off, go see Endgame, and then come back to the video. But anyway.
Yeah, so Spider-Man, obviously I'm excited. It's got Jake Gyllenhaal in it, who I've already professed my undying love for, as Mysterio in it. He looks great.
You forgot to wear your Gyllenhaal shirt today.
So you forgot to wear your Affleck shirt today.
It's just over there. I could go put it on if you want. I'm not going to do that.
No, we'll move on. They know we have it. By the way, who gave us those shirts? I can't remember. We got to give a shout out.
Yes. Little Treasures Print Shop. Good friends of mine. They so graciously made us those I Heart Gyllenhaal and I Heart Affleck shirts.
Thank you.
Big shout out to Little Treasures Print Shop. We'll throw a link in the description below to their website in case you needed anything printed up.
Back to Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
One great thing that I liked about it is obviously with the passing of
the Torch.
The Torch, yeah. With now that Iron Man.
Well, it's very apparent that he's essentially going to be the new Iron Man, and kind of whatever the next phase of Marvel is going to be, Tom Holland is going to be the face of it.
Yeah, which is wild considering, I don't know how old Robert Downey Jr. was when he took over as Tony Stark. We're getting Spider-Man at a really young age. They can keep this on for a very long time.
Well, and Tom Holland has publicly said that he'll do like however many Spider-Man movies the people want to see him in.
Fair enough.
He said he's like, I'll do like 20 Spider-Man movies because he loves doing it.
Oh,
I mean, you say that now, but who knows if like
Daniel Craig is tired of playing Bond, so I mean,
30 years down the road, I mean, Affleck was tired of playing Batman after 2 movies, but we all know why.
Yeah, we do know why.
Zack Snyder. No, I think the mantle being passed to Tom Holland is great.
I agree. I think he's at this point. I do think he is probably the best Spider-Man that we've gotten, especially
1000%.
Yeah, I mean, I did like Andrew Garfield mostly as Spider-Man. I think he had the right quirkiness to him, but I think Tom Holland brings a good balance of the Peter Parker and Spider-Man. And it's nice to see him so young, like still in high school, still kind of dealing with the pressures of being a high school student and the powers that he now possesses. I think he's knocking it out of the park. So I'm excited to see more of him.
The Homecoming, Spider-Man Homecoming. I remember I went into that movie like no expectations,
right?
Because that was still in the era when I was kind of over the whole Marvel thing,
yeah.
And I laughed my ass off.
It was really
the
good
whole time.
Yeah,
so funny.
Yeah, it was great. And I think I'm glad too. We by bringing him in, we kind of skipped over the whole origin side of it. They kind of accepted. Yeah, we all know the story of Spider-Man,
which is that was the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing where I know I harp on it a lot, but Batman v Superman, like that was another reason. Like that movie opens with baby Bruce Wayne and his parents' funeral and him falling into and it's just like, to me that is so unnecessary because by now you're dealing with an older Bruce Wayne. We all know Batman's origin, so that entire sequence, some people some friends have argued that like, well, visually it looked kind of cool and like it was a cool title sequence to do. Still unnecessary. Still completely.
I agree.
And to me, sitting there watching that movie, it's a waste of time. So Tom Holland coming in, no origin story, just being thrown right into the middle of it, in Civil War, brilliant.
I agree.
And then opening Homecoming with like a video diary of him being thrown into Civil War, brilliant.
It's nice as an audience to not be kind of treated like you're dumb. Like we know we've been like we all. That's the reason we're going to see these movies, unless we're seeing like something like Guardians of the Galaxy, where it's kind of accepted that the general population has no clue about these characters, and they have to spend some time giving them
and that's
their
fine.
origin. Yeah, but with Spider-Man, with these properties, like these guys know. We all know.
Well, yeah, because it's been done X amount of time between the cartoons and the and the movies and stuff like that, and the taking the comics out of the equation, like because not everybody reads the comics. Right. Yeah, you need to do when you first do it. Yeah, okay, like do the origin story a couple times, but then move on.
Yeah, for sure. And the other thing I'm just going to point on this one, I don't know much about Mysterio as a character. You kind of mentioned that before we started shooting. So in this trailer, he's being presented as what looks like a good guy, somebody that Spider-Man's got to team up with. My understanding of the character, and I don't know his real name, just the ultimate.
No, I don't either.
Is that he doesn't actually have any real powers. He's more of like he's a magician of sorts. I have a theory on where this movie's going, and I could be completely off base because he mentions that he's from like a different dimension.
Yeah, multiverse.
From the multiverse, and I have a theory that he's actually not, and he's just doing this as some attention grabbing thing. Because again, like I said, I don't think he actually has any real superpowers, but they could change that for the story. Either way, if it's Jake Gyllenhaal on screen, I'm not going to complain.
I mean, it looks like he's got some powers.
It does look like he does. In the
trailer
for sure. But I mean,
I know even less about Mysterio than you do, and like. To the point when we watched the trailer and I looked at Jared and I was like, isn't he a bad guy? And Jared's like, yeah, he's a bad guy. And I'm like, all right, well.
He's a shifty bad guy.
All right,
I think he's a good guy, but he's really a bad guy.
That kind of...
Either way, day one, of course.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. Always day one.
Looks great.
So, in keeping with going back to Batman and the whole Batman origin thing... this week, the big announcement was that Matt Reeves' Batman movie is going to have Robert Pattinson taking up the cowl.
So I don't know if this is 100% true yet. It's the reports that I saw. It was down to two. It was Robert Pattinson and Nicholas Hoult.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he's in the X-Men movie.
Yeah, Nick Hoult. Yeah. He's Beast.
Yes.
Yeah, he's Beast and he was on Skins.
As well. Yeah. But I think Robert Pattinson was basically the front runner. So I don't know if it's like pen to paper signed, but that's kind of how the first article came out. It might have changed.
The reports that I've seen are that it's Robert Pattinson.
Okay, well, if it is, now that if it's official,
yeah,
I am so excited for that.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Robert Pattinson.
Same.
Obviously he gets a lot of flack for his tenure with Twilight.
Yeah, but everybody makes mistakes.
Everybody does make mistakes.
And you know what? You can't even fault him for the Twilight Saga because, like, as an actor, if you land a role like that, why wouldn't you do it?
100%.
Yes, of course those movies are aimed at teenage girls because that's what the book series was aimed at and blah, 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 and middle-aged women. But at the end of the day, I can't fault the dude for, like, picking up a role that, like...
It's going to get his name out there.
Get his name out there and make him a shit ton of money.
100%.
Like...
But since then, I don't know who has been following Robert Pattinson's career since.
Not a lot of people, it seems like. Because there's actually a lot of outraged people about... every Batman announcement, there's always outraged people.
It seems to be the case. I mean, Ben Affleck was faced with it too, and when he was cast...
Christian Bale was faced with it. Heath Ledger.
Yeah.
Heath Ledger got a
lot. Like
that was bad. That was one of the worst. That was one of the worst ones. Is they announced Heath Ledger as the Joker and fanboys lost their shit. And they're like, fuck the guy from A Knight's Tale. Fuck and 10 Things I Hate About You. That's fucking stupid.
Brokeback Mountain.
Brokeback Mountain, motherfucker. And then you putting a gay cowboy and pudding in our fucking Batman movie? How dare you? And then. Like, the first images of him as the Joker and, like, the trailer launch, and all of a sudden everyone's on board. And they're like, he's the best fucking Joker and this and that. And it's like, you haven't even seen the fucking movie yet. But, he's going to knock it out of the park.
Which is funny because I could be wrong, but I feel like it shows how much we know as because we're not. Here's the thing: we're not around for the casting process of this. Obviously, the people in the casting department they get all these auditions and stuff, and Robert Pattinson went and showed what he can bring to the table. What's interesting though is I remember when I think it was when Jared Leto was announced as the Joker for Suicide Squad. I think that had quite a bit of support from what I remember because yes, he can totally nail that. And look what we got.
I know it's hilarious. It's really funny how that worked because I do remember them announcing Jared Leto as the Joker for Suicide Squad, and yeah, being like, "Oh, dope." Yeah, that's a great call.
And that is like that's why like fan casting is like.
So does that so you saying that, do you think that us being excited about Robert Pattinson is going to bite us in the ass?
I think we might have just now well, no, because I think we're in the minority, and I have okay. Here's the thing. Again, to go back, have you what movies have you seen him in since Twilight?
Robert Pattinson?
Yeah.
I have seen him in a couple. There was the Cronenberg one
where he's in Map of the Stars.
No, the one where he's in the limo the whole time. It was like not Equilibrium. What the hell is that called?
Map to the Stars.
No, it's not.
Map of the Stars.
No. He spends the entire movie in a limo.
Oh.
And it's like a post-apocalyptic, futuristic world. It's a David Cronenberg movie. Have you never seen that movie?
I feel like I never even heard of that movie.
Oh my god, yeah, no, I gotta look this up.
Look that up.
What is Map of the Stars?
That was a Cronenberg film too, with Julianne Moore and that girl who's in Alice in Wonderland. I never remember her name.
Oh, Allison, like the Tim Burton.
Tim Burton. Now she played Alice. Mia Marie. I can't remember her name.
I'm not sure.
Anyway, Robert Pattinson. The ones that I'm specifically talking about are like The Rover,
Cosmopolis.
Oh, I've never seen that.
You've never seen Cosmopolis? Oh, no, I don't know what Map of the Stars is. Oh, Maps to the Stars.
There we go. That's Cronenberg too, right?
Yeah, and Pattinson's in it. Yeah, okay. Pattinson's in it because Cosmopolis came before that.
Oh, okay.
I haven't seen Maps to the Stars.
Apparently, I need to. What was Cosmopolis good?
It's an interesting movie.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, the whole movie takes place, in this limo, and the premise is it's like the future, and Robert Pattinson's playing a character that's kind of like a technology mogul, like this whiz kid that is a billionaire all of a sudden because he has like $1 billion company.
Okay.
So he goes down, he gets in his limo, and he's like, "Take me across town to get a haircut." And they're like, "Well, sir, like, streets are closed because like the president or somebody's in town, and it's really hard to get." They're in New York, like it's really hard to get across town. And then all these like crazy little, they're almost like the movie's almost like these like small vignettes that take place. Like they're each kind of their own self-contained story,
right?
But they all take place within this limo, and there's like a whole cast of characters that like come in and out of the limo throughout the movie. It's weird. It's a weird movie.
Is there any kind of weird violence in it? Because that's kind of Cronenberg's stamp on a lot of his movies.
Oh, there's a ton. Like there's like people riding in the streets, and
cool.
The car gets like absolutely destroyed, like painted. And
I'm gonna need to watch that.
Yeah, you're gonna need. It's a good. I'll have to watch that Maps to the Stars. I might watch that today.
There you go.
But that's one that I've watched where I'm like, oh shit, like Pattinson's like he's got some range to him. Like he's got a little bit, like he's got a little bit of bad boy in him.
Yeah. So the movie, the main one that I like when I tell people,
and it's the same one that I'm thinking of.
Good Time?
100%.
Oh my.
Good Time is unbelievable.
Yeah, that was the movie that I saw with Pattinson that like shocked me. I'm like, I didn't know he was this talented of an actor. Like for those who haven't seen it, 100% just go watch it. It's not the movie for everyone. I think most mainstream will probably just disregard it as like, oh, that was kind of weird, but
no, like, it's like a 90-minute anxiety attack.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Like, and start to finish. And it's shot in such a way that, like, a lot of the focal points and, like, the way they shot it is it's like the camera's, like, right in everyone's face. The movie opens on the brother, the mentally handicapped brother.
Who's actually one of the directors.
Exactly. Yeah. And who also, like, knocked that role out of the park. And... yeah, it just starts on like this angle on his face. Like it's not even like it's just filling the frame. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
And That movie, oh my god, that movie is it's hard. Like there's parts of that movie that are really hard to watch
Mm-hmm.
because of the subject matter.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you just like you don't breathe a sigh of relief until the credits roll in
Yeah.
that movie. And even then, like the credit sequence of that movie
Yeah.
is even still like gorgeous.
Yeah. And like Robert Pattinson plays like such a piece of shit in
Yeah.
that movie. Like such something so
Garbage
far
human.
removed from like, the Edward and like I'm the perfect vampire or
Yeah.
whatever. But he's absolutely incredible. And so for me, I think that's on my end as a fan is his audition tape for at least the range that he can show. There's another movie, The Rover, which is actually on Netflix, which I started watching on my lunch break at work the other day, and I'm like,
Which one is The Rover?
The Rover is with Guy Pearce.
Okay.
And I got maybe 20 minutes into it. Again, I was watching it at lunch, like on my phone, like just trying to kill some time. Like, I should actually step back and watch this at home.
Mm-hmm.
And the premise is basically kind of post-apocalyptic Australia, kind of a Mad Max-ish. Not as like wacky, but like his car gets stolen. Guy Pearce's car gets stolen.
Okay.
And then he's on the hunt for him, and he runs into Robert Pattinson, who's the brother of one of the guys who stole the car. And that's when I stopped watching the movie. I'm like, oh, this is actually
Oh, okay. So
kind of
like a John Wick.
kind of, yeah. I don't know how action heavy the movie is going to become, but I like Guy Pearce.
I'll have to
and
check that
obviously
out.
Robert Pattinson as well. So I'm hoping with this new Batman, everything that I've been reading is that it's going to be focused more on the detective side of Batman.
Yeah.
So I don't know if he's going to be as required to be, like the super, the typical superhero body. They're going to beef him up and like try and make him more imposing. I'm looking more for like kind of a detective story, which I think he'll do really well with. But.
Yeah, I as like I at the end of the day, I'm so disappointed that we're not going to get to see like the Ben Affleck written and directed starring the Batman movie, because when that was announced, I was so excited because, as you know, like Ben Affleck, he was my favorite Batman.
Yeah.
He just didn't get his fair shake because of the shitty nature of the DC universe.
Yeah,
because
how
of
mishandled the whole thing was.
Oh, it's just, and they're still mishandling it.
Yeah.
But I feel like they're the problem is they're trying too hard.
Mm-hmm.
They're trying way too hard to basically build like another Marvel universe.
Yeah,
and they can't.
You can see they're trying to like pick at the things that Marvel's been successful with.
Yeah.
But trying to like spin it in a way.
But they did it in 2 movies. They're like,
Yeah.
okay, they made Man of Steel, right? And then they made Batman versus Superman, and then Justice League. Like, it was just like...
They made Wonder Woman... No, they did Wonder Woman after, didn't
Wonder
they?
Woman came out after. The first time we saw Wonder Woman was in Justice League.
No. I'm pretty
Yeah?
sure. It was... I could be wrong. I thought it went Man of Steel, Batman versus Superman, then Wonder Woman, then Justice League. Are you going to fact check
I'm going to
this?
fact check that because...
because we were introduced to Wonder Woman in Batman versus Superman. She showed up at the end.
Oh, right. Is she in Batman v
Yeah,
Superman?
she shows up at the end, and they all fight
17.
the cave troll from Lord of the Rings.
Wonder... Right, yeah, okay.
I was right.
Oh, they both say 17, so yeah, you're probably right. Nice. That's fine. No, but that is right. She comes in at the end of Batman v Superman. So okay, so but still,
it doesn't really
kind
matter.
of proving my point. Still, like
they just kind of shoehorned her in
because
like, we also have
really like Batman v Superman isn't Flash in there too? Like briefly,
yeah, he shows up.
And what is it, Cyborg or whatever the hell his name is?
Sorry, buddy, you ain't getting a solo movie. I'm sorry,
but. The fact that Aquaman got a solo movie is like the only reason Aquaman got a solo movie is because people like Jason Momoa.
Yeah,
nobody else could play that character and not make it cheesy and stupid.
Yeah,
but at the same time, he's boring.
I hope he doesn't watch our channel.
I don't care. I love you. I mean, I'm sure he's a nice enough person, but he's boring.
Yeah, I mean, Aquaman was... It was just okay. It was, I think, had that movie come out in the early 2000s or something like that, I'd be like, this is amazing. But
Oh yeah, like 2010, that would have been
yeah,
fucking mind blowing.
absolutely. But there was just so much going on. The plot was so simple. Like, there wasn't really any. I don't know. It's just kind of meh. Like, I didn't leave being like upset about it, but I definitely wasn't enthralled by it. It was just. It was kind of an assault on the senses at some point, where to the point where it's like it's kind of like a sugar rush. Like, oh, it's kind of fun, and then after like a.
The music was good.
It was. I actually the main theme from
Yeah.
the trailer was awesome.
Yeah, the music was dope.
Yeah. But that's not enough to save a movie.
No.
And I'm a big James Bond fan. Like I love that guy, but the director, James Wan. Directed
Oh,
The
James
Conjuring.
Wan. I thought you said James Bond. I was like, what?
Yeah. James Bond's whatever.
Yeah, I'm not really.
But anyway.
But yeah, we're getting into the territory where it's like there's like not. I mean, we're not that close to like how many people have played Batman, like have played James Bond and shit like that. But we're
What I'm hoping too, I kind of touched on with the the detective side of it. I'm really hoping moving forward we're going to deal with Batman more the way that Bond has been dealt with, in the sense that we're given like there's continuity in the sense of characters and whatever. Like obviously we see Q and Miss Moneypenny.
so Alfred
And Alfred and stuff, but like it would be nice to just kind of see each a contained story. Like each time we see Batman, it's like, oh, Batman is set up with a new villain. Here we go. Do you know what I mean? You know, with every Bond movie, you can kind of just go pick any Bond movie, apart from like I think Casino Royale and Quantum of Solace are the ones that are literally sequels. They're all just episodic and or what's I can't think of the word I'm thinking of.
Serialized.
They're like an
no,
anthology.
not serialized. They're an anthology. For
Yeah,
sure.
and I'd like to see Batman treated that way, where it's like
You can almost. I mean, Marvel movies are almost that.
yeah, you're right. They
Marvel
do it in
movies,
such a way that it's it's a contained story.
You go watch. Like for instance, I watched like Ant-Man and Wasp last night.
Mm-hmm.
Ant-Man and Wasp is its own movie, and then there's like this much of it that ties into the rest of like the over arc of all 22 movies.
Yeah.
You go and watch Thor. Thor is its own contained story and has like this much of the overall arc. You go watch Guardians of the Galaxy. Of course, Guardians of the Galaxy is a little bit closer to the subject matter of the arc.
Yep.
Because Thanos is like a central character in those. I mean, but even then, Thanos isn't like a central character in those movies. It's Gamora, who's obviously his daughter. Like, you know what? You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But even then, Guardians of the Galaxy is still its own contained story.
Absolutely.
And it has this much. I never felt like, starting with Man of Steel moving forward, I never felt like the DC movies were self-contained. Like Man of Steel, I guess, but like Batman v Superman was relying so heavily on the fact that Wonder Woman was going to show up, you know what I mean? Like it just...
Yeah, the whole thing you can tell was... It's an obvious setup. That we're going to get to these characters.
We're going to get to Justice
just
League. And everything hinges on everything else happening.
Yeah.
And then, okay, now Henry Cavill's left. Affleck's left. Well, your entire foundation, what you thought you had your Captain America and Iron Man, like it's crumbled beneath you.
Yeah.
So now they have to start over. And that's fine. Start over and just slow it, like pump the brakes.
Yeah, and that's the thing. The beauty of what Marvel did, it was all very energetic, but like if you look at the all 22 movies, it was very relaxed in its storytelling. Maybe not relaxed, but like it was.
They were gambling, but the other thing is they were gambling huge.
And look how well it paid off.
Because Marvel Studios was like they were going to go under.
Yep.
Because they had nothing left in the tank. They're like, well, what
had they released before Iron Man or before? Yeah, Iron Man was the first one of like the universe as we know it.
That was Iron Man is the first one of like the Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Movies. Everything else, they were like, in order to keep the company afloat, they were selling off characters.
Right.
The movie rights to characters. So like that's why Sony owns the movie rights to Spider-Man. That's why Fox owns the movie rights. Deadpool, X-Men,
Fantastic Four,
Silver Surfer, like all that shit, right? Like that's what they were using to keep the company afloat. And then it was like, well, we want to make like we need to do something huge. So
Right.
they had the idea. They had the blueprint of like, we want to do this massive Marvel Cinematic Universe, but they didn't have, like, obviously Disney wasn't in the picture.
Yeah.
Disney wasn't in the picture until like Iron Man 2. Like Disney
Yeah.
wasn't in the picture until Phase 2.
Yeah.
Phase 1 was all them.
Yeah.
And they had a distribution deal through Paramount.
Okay.
So when you go and watch like Iron Man and like the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton, because those are the first two movies they did.
Yep.
The opening stinger is Paramount Pictures and the stars flying into. Yeah, it's weird, right?
Yeah.
So you go and watch, because knowing that Disney owns Marvel now, and like Disney has such a big hand in making those movies, because they got that Disney money. It's weird watching the Paramount logo at the beginning, because you're like, well, fuck.
When did that happen?
I'm like, yeah, okay. Because I remember the first time, it was last year when I went back and rewatched all the movies, I saw that Paramount stinger and I was like, wait, what?
When did that happen?
I was I thought Disney owned this.
So it was pretty much after Avengers, like after the first Avengers. Like they were still under Paramount for the first
I
Avengers?
believe they were, yeah. I believe like the first like 6 movies or something, like they're all.
Okay. Then Disney was like, these guys are gonna make a lot of money. We want some of that.
Well, you can see it in the movies, because instead of having the Paramount logo at the beginning, it just goes right into this Marvel Studios, like comic flipping.
Yeah.
And then it says Marvel Studios.
Yeah.
Disney doesn't put a Disney logo at the beginning of it because they don't need to. Marvel Studios has enough of their own legs to stand on at this point, because when they did Iron Man was not, or Marvel movies were not tentpole movies.
No.
Iron Man was not a tentpole character. He was very much like
I knew nothing about him before.
He was very much kind of like I know who I've heard of Iron Man. I know what he looks like.
Yeah.
I don't know that much about Tony Stark and like his background and anything like that. By the time we got to the first Avengers movie, we knew so much about that character, and I think at this point, like, I don't think they'll ever. I mean, I can't speak for them, because ultimately Hollywood is a money making machine. But I would like to think that they won't ever recast Tony Stark.
I'd like to think so.
Because, like, I would like to think that, it kind of lives and dies with Robert Downey Jr., because he is that character. Like,
I feel the same way about Hugh Jackman and Wolverine.
Yeah, and that exactly. And like, those are very flash in the pan instances where, and Hugh Jackman played Wolverine for what, like 15 years?
Yeah.
I think 15, he hit 15 years this year or something like that, or last year. Yeah, like that, those are very flash in the pan kind of characters where it's like, they just are that character.
Yeah.
And you can't see anyone else. It would feel weird.
They embodied it so well. They're kind of, I know what you mean.
It would feel weird with somebody else being that character.
I agree.
And Captain America somewhat too.
Yeah. I don't feel as strongly about Captain, even though I do love Chris Evans. I feel like they could easily.
He's amazing. It's funny because he was in the original, and I'm not a big Fantastic Four fan at all.
Who is?
And I think they've screwed up all those movies personally. But when he was what's that character's name?
The Human Torch.
The Human Torch, yeah, like, and then he goes from that to like being Captain America. And it's so funny, like Ryan Reynolds, Green Lantern, Deadpool.
Yeah.
And it's like they found their niche in terms of like, that wasn't the character they were meant to play. The character it was like they just took the opportunity to be in a superhero movie because
why not?
And if it worked, it worked. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, and that's fine. But like the fact that they had kind of built their stardom up to the point where they're like, no, like this is the character that I'm meant to play.
Yeah.
Or like Tom Holland.
Yeah.
He 100% was meant to play Spider-Man. And like when you watch his audition tape, you can see it.
Really?
You can see it instantly. You're
I'll have
like,
to watch that after. I don't think I saw his audition tape.
you should watch it. It's you can see like the
The spark.
yeah, where you're just like, oh shit, like I would definitely watch that kid as Peter Parker.
Yeah. Circling back though to DC again.
Okay.
You didn't see Shazam.
I still haven't seen Shazam.
Shazam was great.
That's what I've heard. Is it like really? Is
I don't
it
need to dwell too much on this. But
is it goofy funny or is it like?
It's just it had that kind of like I don't even know how to explain it. Did you see Jingle All the Way?
Yeah, of course.
Like if you like thinking back, how did that movie make you? How does that movie make you feel?
I mean, I watch it every Christmas.
Oh, okay. So you like it. You like obviously.
I mean, I love Christmas. And I love Christmas.
That movie kind of gave me the same feeling of like the first time.
Is it a Christmas movie?
Yeah, it happens around Christmas.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, damn. I gotta wait until Christmas now to watch it.
I don't know. It was just so fun and like it was surprisingly like darker and scarier than I thought it was gonna be. Because the director who did it, I can't remember his name. He responded to me on Reddit, which was my shining moment. David F. Sandberg. Is that somebody else? Maybe. Anyway, he did Lights Out and Annabelle too. So he's from his background is horror. So when he introduced like the villains in this movie, they're actually surprisingly dark. pretty dark and scary. But Zachary Levi is like
I've heard he's fantastic.
He's amazing in it. He does such a great job. And the movie's just so funny and like you just another one where you just feel so good leaving the theater, and you should definitely watch it. Are you gonna wait till Christmas to watch it?
No, I'll probably watch it sooner.
Yeah,
I'll probably watch it. I'll watch when it comes out.
That's the first DC movie where I'm like, that was awesome. Like I had no complaints. I'm like that was just pure fun, and I kind of wish they started with that, but obviously they're not gonna start their DC universe with Shazam. But maybe at this point, they should have taken that risk. Like they.
Well, that's kind of their problem is that they're not willing to take risks. So I'm surprised that they made a Shazam movie.
Yeah.
Because I feel like the Shazam movie was bred out of like we have no other options. Like we need to put something out.
We need a win, and I think Shazam was a big win for them. At least
that's good.
Maybe I don't think it like did gangbusters at the box office or anything, but it did well. But it was definitely a step in the right direction. But that being said, it did feel very close to a Marvel movie, which is just really funny. Like it had the same kind of. Character arc. But
okay, so and you can see how desperate they are.
Yeah,
you can see the desperation in terms of like because I love Batman is my favorite superhero. Batman is my favorite character in all the superheroes.
It's just like us, except
but they keep fucking it up. And
wait, are you talking in the new DC universe, or you're including like the Christian
I'm talking
Bale
in general.
Okay.
Batman is my favorite. Like if you go look.
No, but you say they keep fucking it up. Like, are you talking about the DC?
The new stuff?
Okay. Yeah.
No, I'm not talking Christian Bale. I have plenty of things to say about The Dark Knight Rises and how that's not a very good movie.
It's not.
It's not.
Not a good movie.
Knight,
I hate admitting it.
I know. I hate it. I had this conversation with a buddy of mine the other night where I think that was probably the first time. Since that movie had come out that I had finally admitted that it's not a good movie and I'm not I don't
I think it's part of the reason I didn't watch it again for so long because I saw it in theaters. I'd maybe seen it once since and I watched it again maybe 2 months ago.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and being like, yo, this movie's garbage.
It's
not good at all.
It doesn't make any sense and it kind of it suffers greatly due to the fact that like I feel you can almost feel the fact that like once Heath Ledger had died, they didn't know what to do.
Yeah.
And they were like, what are we going to do for a villain?
Yeah. I'm wondering what,
I don't know if they like, I don't want to think that they had always intended for it to be Bane and Talia al Ghul from the beginning. Like, I feel like there was supposed to be more Joker stuff.
Yeah.
That happened that just obviously couldn't happen because he wasn't around anymore. But there's also the pressure from the studio. That to me is like one of those things where Warner Brothers is like, well, we want another one because the last one did so well.
Yeah. So
they're kind of pressuring Nolan into like, and I'm sure he wanted to make another one, but it's kind of like, well, you got to make another one like now because it's got to come out. And he's had a great deal with Warner Brothers going for years.
Yeah.
Because off the success of Memento, he gets because he did Memento and then he did Batman Begins, right? or was there something else in there between?
I want to say he did Memento, and then Batman. When did he do Insomnia though? That
it might have been Insomnia.
I think, and then Batman Begins, and then it was The Prestige.
Yeah, because once he gets to that's not who I want. Christopher Nolan. Yeah, when he gets to oh my god, this is all falling apart. Pardon me. When he gets to like, I'm just going to put it down because I can't focus. When he gets to Batman Begins and he kind of signs up for that, he's like, all right, I'll do Batman. But it's going to be a kind of a, one for me or one for you, one for me deal.
Yeah.
So, he does Batman Begins, then he does the Prestige, and which does really well and is a really good movie. And the studio's kind of like, like, I guess when we, I guess we should kind of like, all right,
work with this guy.
And they're no, not even about that. They're just like, all right, you do another Batman movie. He's like, cool, I'll do one for you and you do one for me.
Then he does Interstellar.
No, then he does. No, because
Inception.
He doesn't. Inception. Yeah, he does Dark Knight, and then he does Inception, and Inception fucking was huge. And they're like, okay,
yeah,
well, you do another Batman
Inception
movie.
Was had a massive impact when it came out. Like the discussions came out like
it had an Avatar-sized impact.
Yeah,
when it came out, and it's a great movie. There's parts of it that like don't make a lot of sense, but at the end of the day, who cares?
No.
It's a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
Unlike Avatar. I'm not an Avatar fan, but no, Inception's like it's a really fun to watch movie because they
such a neat concept.
Yeah,
I would like to actually see now that we're kind of, there's a couple things I'm going to talk about Christopher Nolan. I would like to see Christopher Nolan go full tilt fantasy.
Okay.
Because everything that he's done so far has been grounded in reality. Like even his Batman movies, like he doesn't acknowledge like any kind of superpowers, any like legit superpowers of anybody. Do you know what I mean? It's all very grounded. Like this, the way I took those movies to happen is like this could happen today. You know what I mean? A guy like this could be going around
until you get to the end of the Dark Knight Rises and the city's under like tyranny rule. But go on.
Anyway, so yeah, I would like to see him take on something completely fantastical. But the other thing is, going back to Robert Pattinson. Robert Pattinson is in Christopher Nolan's next movie.
Which is...
I have no idea what it's about, but Robert Pattinson is cast in Christopher Nolan's next movie.
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, like it's just like, like untitled Chris Nolan project?
Yes.
Oh, sick.
So, good for that guy. That guy's freaking agent is killing it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and then the other thing that Robert Pattinson is in is that the guy who directed The Witch.
Oh, The Lighthouse.
The Lighthouse.
Oh my
God. I don't think there's a trailer out.
There's just literally a single photo for it.
If
you can put it in the video, please do.
In black and white.
Yeah.
It's what, Willem Dafoe
and
Robert Pattinson.
It's just them standing
in black and white, standing under a lighthouse or something, and it's like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in.
You weren't as big of a fan of The Witch, I don't think, as I was.
Oh, I liked it.
Oh, you liked it? Okay.
I liked it. I thought it kind of suffered the same problems that like Hereditary did, where it's just like
the expectations,
it's
what you'd heard
really
before.
well done, and like it like The Witch. I like The Witch more than I like Hereditary.
Okay, I can.
But it kind of suffers the same like ending problems for me, where I'm just kind of like the setup doesn't equal the payoff.
Right, and I think we need to. I think the problem too is when these especially these horror movies come out, when they use all these these buzzwords like scariest movie since The Exorcist. Hereditary is not the scariest movie since The Exorcist. Neither is The Witch, but they're both just very well done and well handled.
And that's a big problem for me is that they're advertising it as like I literally saw I saw multiple articles that said Hereditary is the scariest movie of all time, and it's like no, it's not.
It's really well done.
Yeah, but that going in with that mindset that it's like, holy fuck, like how scary is this going to be, ruined it for me.
I can see that, and that's
because I get to the end of that movie and I'm like, oh, that's kind of lame. So You know what I mean? Where it's just like,
Yeah.
if I had gone in completely blind, I think I would have liked it a lot
Yeah,
more.
because I mean, by that statement, I would say that, like, something like the first Conjuring is closer to being like as scary as The Exorcist. Did you see, like, that's another James Wan movie with
Yeah, I know he's done
do you
all
know,
that.
like literally viscerally scary? Do you
That's
know
the
what I mean?
one with like the Darth Maul looking dude that like
That's
pokes his...
Insidious.
Oh, that's Insidious. Oh,
Yeah.
The Conjuring is the one set in the 70s.
Yeah,
Or whatever, with
Patrick Wilson and
the
I guess he's in
lady,
both.
the lady whose life it was based on, she just passed away.
Yes.
Okay, yeah, okay. I've because it deals like, that's where the Annabelle
Doll
spin-off
spinoff was from.
Okay, yeah.
So I would put that as being more.
But is it jump scary, or is it
But
like...
is that not what made The Exorcist kind of? I mean, The Exorcist was
No.
like, no.
Have you seen The Exorcist?
I've seen The Exorcist, but
The
like,
Exorcist is not jump scary at all. It's like, and granted, nowadays that movie's not terrifying at all, because the world is far scarier than that.
But I'm talking like, because when I think on The Exorcist, and I haven't seen it in a long time, the whole like crawling down the stairs backwards stuff. I know a lot of it was more like
no, there's just a genuine. Okay, The Exorcist benefited from a lot of the same marketing that Hereditary benefited from, that Psycho benefited from.
Right.
When Psycho was released, where they're literally like their entire like advertising platform is based on like, don't see this movie.
right.
Like, don't. It's too fucking...
Same thing
like,
with, I think Paranormal Activity did a similar.
If you have a heart problem, don't see this movie.
Mm-hmm.
If you are pregnant, don't see this movie. Like, don't. And they like preface it with all of this. So people going into the theater are willingly going into the theater with this predetermined like
almost
terror.
Like yeah.
So when horrible shit starts happening on the screen, or like scary things start happening on the screen,
you're like primed for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're more susceptible to it. So I think that's... Don't get me wrong, like The Exorcist in that day and age when that came out in theaters, that would have been genuinely terrifying.
Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw it, I was probably like 16 or something. And I remember being scared by it.
Yeah, and the first time I watched it was this past Halloween.
And did you find it scary?
No.
Yeah.
I found it... I did not find it scary at all, but it's an awesome movie. I watched it purely for like the, oh shit, like they made a really good movie here, and like that's kind of what I watched it for.
And it's hard too, because like I think
it was just one of those movies that was like always on the list of like, oh, I gotta watch this one day, and I never...
And horror's super subjective too.
Yeah.
Like what people find scary. Like at this point, watching a movie like that's just purely jump scares doesn't really do much for me.
But okay, so this moves on to our like next thing. The new It trailer came out.
Yep.
And that, I will say, that trailer, real effective.
Yes.
The trailer is insanely effective because it's one scene.
Yep.
It is the entire scene, or the entire trailer is just one scene of Beverly going into her old house, and that old lady...
It's the lady who's now living there
or whatever, and this and that. And it's like just the subtle, creepy things that happen in the background that eventually lead to like the climax of the trailer. Holy shit, that trailer is...
Yeah.
That's one of the best trailers I've seen in a very long time.
Yeah.
Because we all know... Like, if you've ever watched the original, like, It TV special from the 80s, or, like, the late 80s, early 90s, if you've ever read the book, or, like, listened to the audiobook or whatever, you already have an idea of what this movie's going to be about and what's going to happen and how it's going to end. That's fine. If you don't, that trailer doesn't give fuck all away for that movie. That's where it's so effective.
Yeah.
Because it gives you so much but yet so little at the same time. And that's what I loved about that.
Yeah. I think too, something I was really interested in when they were making this one is the first one. Obviously, it's dealing with kids, so they have to make things that are scary to kids, like with
within the confines of the movie.
Within the confines of the movie,
because they're still making it scary for adults going to see the movie.
But I would say, like for me, I really enjoyed the first one. I shouldn't say loved. I really enjoyed the first one. But it wasn't scary to me.
No, it's not scary.
Like
but it's, I would say, would you agree that that It movie from last year or the year before, that is the best adaptation of a Stephen King property ever?
Yes, because I saw Pet Cemetery recently, and
Yeah, okay.
that's just an example.
But do you think that it was better than, say, Kubrick's The Shining? Because that, right? Now, herein lies the problem. Because The Shining is so widely, that's another movie that benefited from, like, don't see this movie in theaters because it's terrifying. That movie is widely regarded as, like, one of Stanley Kubrick's best films. Yep. Although I don't see anything wrong with any of his films. Mm-hmm. Yet Stephen King hated it.
Yeah, I was going to say he hated that movie.
So then that raises a different argument. Would you even consider that as Stephen King adaptation, because Kubrick removed it so far from the source material?
Yeah, it's tough because
this is a totally different
I feel like Kubrick took an adaptation of it and just made a great movie.
He just made his own movie.
He just made a great movie.
He took the book and he was like, "Fuck it,
I'll take some ideas from this and then whatever." But from an adaptation standpoint, I think it nailed it. Like, no pun intended. Like, it's the only point I was trying to make there is, like, they're making things that are scary, like, because the movie has to be scary to, like, adults and kids, because the movie's about kids being scared. But with this one, now they're all adults. So now they have to scare adults in the movie. Do you know what I mean? So I'm very interested to see, like, kind of what tactics they're going to take to make adults more scared, as opposed to, because it can't just be like, I'm scared of a clown. Do you know what I mean?
No, but I feel like the lingering effects of what happened to them as children
is going to be just as important. Yeah,
is going to play into them as adults. So
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
I don't really think. Like, I think it's going to be much, because I mean, you get to the end of, like, the It TV fucking special, and it's like, it's a giant spider.
Oh, you hear my stomach growl?
No. Can you hear mine growling? Krista got me food, and it's like sitting upstairs, and I'm like, ooh. I can sense it. I can sense it. I was just like, ooh, food entered the building.
We'll get there.
Oh no, it's fine.
It looks great.
But something that doesn't look that great, and I'm kind of confused as to, like, the direction that they're going with it, is they released the first, like, full-length trailer for Sonic.
Yeah, Sonic
the Hedgehog.
Oh man, this is another property that, like, I play the games on the Game Boy. Like, I don't have much, like, nostalgia with this character.
Well, clearly, because they weren't ever on Game Boy.
Did I say Game Boy?
Yeah, you
meant Game Gear.
Game Gear.
Sorry. The one that took, like, 20 AA batteries. It's just like you can kill someone with that thing. But it looked like garbage. 100% garbage.
Now, okay.
But what's really cool about it, I shouldn't say cool, what's interesting is, like, this is the first movie that I know of where they took fan reaction to heart and were like, you know what? We fucked up the design of this guy and are going back to the drawing board. And are going to try
they're going to fix... Well, apparently, they're going to fix Sonic's design, which I think that...
Can we put up a picture of what he looks like?
Sure.
We should. Just to show how bad he looks.
I think that that signifies problems right there. And then to top it off, I'm not really into... I mean, okay, I love Jim Carrey.
Yeah, I was like, where is he going with this?
I love Jim Carrey.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't understand.
I loved Jim Carrey.
I love Jim Carrey. 100%, like, till the end of time. But I just don't understand. Like, you get that little blip at the end of the trailer where he's like, he actually looks like Dr. Robotnik. And I'm like, okay, well, which is it then? Like, what are you doing with this movie? Yeah. Because I don't understand why it has to be set in the real world, and, like, James Marsden's, like, the fucking sidekick guy, and, like, the whole, like, and the other thing too is that like, the trailer takes... That's one of those things where, like, I feel like they don't know how to sell that movie at all, and it's like very much just like a power source and like 7 times the blah blah blah. So we're the government. We're gonna go try and take it, and that's what like it's just like.
I'm already getting the vibe that with this movie, like that end bit with Dr. Robotnik, yeah, where he's finally got the big, like he looks closer to what.
Yeah, and he puts the goggles on. And...
I have this feeling that is literally the stinger at the end of the movie. I feel like that entire movie he's not going to look like that until something's going to happen after the climax, and they're just going to be like,
yeah, to set it up for a
sequel. And I swear to God, if you do that, I mean, there's nobody I can really get mad at. I'm just going to be upset.
But I'm already okay. It's so funny how you watch the Sonic trailer and you're like, wow, that's something I didn't know that I didn't need.
Yeah.
Right? And
my day would have been completely fine had I not seen this.
Totally.
Yeah. Probably better.
And it's like that's a video game adaptation. Mm-hmm. Then you think back, close your eyes. Clear your head. Think of like a nice sandy beach, waves crashing against that beach, and you look down and you have your phone in your hand. Okay? No, don't actually put your phone in your hand. Just imagine. And YouTube, I heard your phone buzz. You don't look. YouTube is on the phone screen. Mm-hmm. And you look and it says, "Oh look, a brand new trailer for this new movie called Detective Pikachu." And you don't know anything about this motherfucker. All you know is that for a little while, a while ago, fans were petitioning to have Danny DeVito be the voice of Detective Pikachu. And you're okay with that because you're like, that seems kind of weird. I'd listen to a Danny DeVito Pikachu, I guess. If he's like a noir detective, like, I guess I'd be into having Danny DeVito's voice. And then you click play on that trailer. And then the trailer starts playing and you're like, wow, this actually looks pretty fucking dope. This is kind of like, you start feeling like, well, maybe, did they make a live action Pokemon movie that might actually be good? And then you see the Pikachu come up and it's Ryan Reynolds' voice. And you're like, wow, it just sounds like Deadpool inside of Pikachu. But you're not disappointed. You're like, wow, this movie actually looks pretty fucking good. I can get behind this. And then the trailer goes on and it gets better and better. And they show you more things. They show you more things that you're getting excited about. And you're like, oh shit, it's Deadpool Pikachu in a live action Pikachu that, like, this is the movie we've been waiting for since we were children. And the reports come in and the critics and the audience love it. I still haven't seen it. Neither. But you can open your eyes now.
Oh, okay.
But like, think about that. Think about like the reaction to like the first Detective Pikachu trailer. And you're like, fuck, that looks dope. Yeah. That looks genuinely dope.
Yeah.
And then they're like, yeah, we're making a Sonic the Hedgehog movie. And you're like, all right, okay, I'm in. And then you watch the trailer and you're like 30 seconds into that trailer, you're like, what the fuck? Why?
Yeah.
Like, why? What? Just make a Zelda movie.
Zelda movie would be great.
Have you seen the IGN like April Fool's joke like movie trailer that they made?
No.
Out of nowhere. You've never seen that?
No. How long ago was this?
Oh, years ago.
Oh, okay.
But it's like one of those things where like they made a fake movie trailer for a Zelda movie that they released on IGN is really evil with April Fool's jokes. They got me this year. And I'll tell you about that in a second. But they made this like Zelda movie trailer, or it was like a Zelda TV show or something that was fucking dope.
Yeah.
Like so well done.
Like live action?
Yes.
Oh.
And would be killer as a movie. I would watch the hell out of a Zelda movie.
I seem to recall that.
Yeah, no, that was an April Fool's joke as well.
That was too?
That was like
Jesus.
That article.
Was that IGN?
Did you see that article like recently?
No,
because I've seen
over
that
a year ago.
I've seen that article being like reposted again recently. The article's like 5 years old.
Yeah, okay.
Netflix is not going to make there's never going to be a Zelda property that like it'll never happen.
Okay.
I really want it to because I think it would be dope and it hopefully would clear up a lot of the different Zelda timelines and shit. But I don't think it'll ever happen.
How did they get you this year?
This year? Yeah. So IGN posted a Nintendo Switch Direct video. So like Nintendo Direct is like where they announce things. like Nintendo related, where like games and shit like that. So IGN posted it under the guise that it was a Nintendo Direct video, and they were like, "This is everything coming to the Switch this year," and it was like they started off and they were like, "Every Zelda game will be on the Switch," and I was like, holy shit, I'll be able to play Ocarina of Time, I'll be able to play Majora's Mask, I'll be able to play Wind Waker, like all of the Zelda games on the Switch. And then it was like they were like, and then they started listing off like a whole bunch of other games. And I'm sitting with my buddy that I'm working with, or buddy that I work with, at lunch, and I'm watching this video, and I'm like, dude, I was like, do you have a Switch? And he's like, no, I haven't really wanted to get one because like there's not like there's the library's big enough now, but like I got one when there was like Breath of the Wild and 1-2 Switch. Okay. Like that was the entire library. And I'm like watching this video, I'm like, dude, I think it's time to get a Switch. The library is getting massive. And then it just started going like, and like there was more and more games, and then they got to like, holy shit, Grand Theft Auto 5 is going to be on there? I was like, that's dope. Red Dead Redemption 2? Like, that's fucking sweet. Yeah. And then the video started, like, it just hit this plateau of, like, I believed it. And then they were like, and it just, like, they started rambling off, like, games that weren't even announced yet. Like, it was, like, it just...
That's a really mean-spirited.
It was... No, it's not mean-spirited. It's not... I mean... It was one of those, like, that I haven't been got with, like, an April Fool's joke in a while. Mm-hmm. I think the last one was like, oh, yeah, they're building a Disneyland in Kelowna or something. That was, like, one of the last big ones where I was like, shit! Disneyland in Kelowna! Canadian Disneyland! And then it was like, no, that's not happening.
Open, like, 3 months out of the year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It was like, fuck. But that...
I got you.
IGN video genuinely got me to the point where I was on tilt. And my buddy Chris that I was with, he was just like for the rest of the day, he was like, "You still tilted?" I was like, "Dude, it's like fuck IGN. I'm done. Yeah. I'm never looking at their website again." Like he was like, "You're pretty mad." I was like, "I'm mad."
Gotta get you to a poker game too. That just reminded me.
So, yeah, we'll do that. Yeah, let me know when the next one is. Yeah. But What else do we have to talk about that we haven't?
We could talk about the movie we saw today.
Oh yeah, we went and saw John Wick 3 today.
Parabellum.
So
it's one of those great movies where they just say the name of the movie at one point.
Oh, I know. It's when he hits that Parabellum, and I was like,
finally, we can leave now that he said the title. We know what it means now.
Yeah, I guess we know what the title means now. Yeah. But so I because you've been bugging me to go see that, like since for a while, like over a month.
Oh yeah.
You were like, we're going to see John Wick 3, and I was like, yeah, whatever. Like it's fine. Like I've seen the first two. Like it's great. So then I cut to yesterday, and I'm like, I should probably like brush up on John Wick because I know that I haven't seen. I knew for sure that I had fallen asleep at the end of John Wick 1. I was also very tired, and. I was like, yeah, I watched John Wick 2 and it's all good. So I was like, I should probably like brush up on both. So I watched John Wick 1. I was like, movie's dope, great. Get into John Wick 2. And then I realized like 30 minutes into the movie, I'm like, oh.
I have no memory of this. I
have no memory of this because I watched the first 20 minutes and then had to turn it off because I had to go do something else and then never went back to it. So in my mind, I had made up the rest of the movie. And I was like, oh yeah, like John Wick 2 is not very good. Or like, not that I don't think I ever said it wasn't very good. I think I just kind of like was like, oh yeah, it was okay. Like I just made up the rest of it. So when I watched it,
I wonder how many other movies you've been doing that for.
Oh man, I probably have done that for like movies that I look back on from like my childhood, like fondly, where I'm like, oh yeah, like I was like, that's a great movie. I'd love to watch it again. And then you like watch it and you're like, oh, what a pile of dog shit. Like, so yeah, I guess I watched John Wick 2 for the first time yesterday.
Yeah. And you liked it.
Loved it. So it set me up perfectly for today.
Yep.
And John Wick 3 is awesome.
Very well done.
Yep. Very, and like the way they set those movies up is perfect because each one starts right where the previous one ends.
Exactly.
I think like the span of all three movies takes place in a week.
Something like that, yeah.
Like it's like they even say that in the movie. Like the
you've been up to
the shit you've been up to this week, and it's just like it was 5 years ago.
Yeah,
like the first one came out in 2014.
Did it?
John Wick
I saw that in IMAX too.
And John Wick was 20. I think when I looked yesterday, it was 2014, and then John Wick 2 is 2017.
Yeah.
John Wick 3 is 2019. John Wick 4 will be like next week because I'm sure they're already done filming it. And you know what? I have no problem. Like, to me, it's almost like the Mission Impossible movies at this point, where it's like, you keep making them, I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah, it's like until I see a noticeable dip in quality, I'm committed. But even then,
like,
series.
Well, Mission Impossible in terms of like the story,
yeah,
like, but I can't even say that because it's just like those movies are so ridiculous that like, this would never happen, but I'ma still go because it's fun.
Yeah.
John Wick, same thing. I'll go see the rest of them in theaters.
I love, like, one thing I really appreciate about it is like the movie takes itself so seriously. And I like the world building that we kind of keep getting a little bit more and more into because the first movie was so like pretty contained. You're like, oh, what's this continental thing? And then they start expanding on that. And then this one just kind of opens up even more.
But that's why I like the fact that the whole series so far has taken place in a week. So it's like it's believable that like we wouldn't have known anything that much about the Continental Hotel.
Yeah.
You know, the first 3 days of everything going on.
Yeah.
Okay, on day 4 they give us a little bit more. On day 5, which is day 5 or 6 or maybe 7 is what we saw today.
Yeah,
for sure. So it's all believable.
Yeah. And one thing, this is just something I noticed with this one. I really love how you'll probably speak more to this. I really enjoy how these movies are shot, and there are certain movies that are shot a little too dark, and especially in action sequences, I'm sure to just kind of, I don't know,
disguise
it.
Yeah.
This is a lot of like wide shots, like kind of you can see everything that's happening. But when the movie's dark, it's like appropriately dark, and like it's still I don't know how to explain what I'm saying right now, but in the dark scenes, like. I don't know. It still has a lot of like pizzazz to them. I don't know how else to explain it. Basically, the lighting is doing a really good job in that movie.
Yeah, the lighting design is fantastic. I have a friend who's she's a gaffer in Toronto, and like leading up to this film coming out, she was posting a lot about like how excited she was to see this movie based on like because the second one they did a lot of like really good lighting design with like neon and stuff like that, and that this one there's still like a lot of like that opening shot in like Times Square in the rain, beautiful.
Yeah. There
is a lot of like neon-y kind of stuff and like gritty back alley kind of nice lighting. But the I don't even is it really spoilers? I guess it's not really spoilers because I'm not going to tell you what happens, but like that the scene in the glass area that was so well constructed, and it was lit so beautifully.
Yeah,
I guess even in the Continental at the end too, when they shut the lights off and then they turn on like the LED strip lighting, that was kind of interesting, and I thought that gave a nice.
That's what I mean. Like it's dark, but like you still see everything clearly.
Yes,
like, I didn't know how else to explain that.
And you're right. There are a lot of wide kind of like there's not a lot of. What I appreciate about it, because like some fight scenes, there's a lot of cuts and there's a lot of like shaky.
Jason Bourne.
It's like exactly, and even then, but that's a conscious choice that they're making, to disguise certain elements of like the fighting and to kind of pick up the pace. Like that's what they're doing is they're picking up the pace and stuff.
Yeah.
This, they're taking care to like. Really choreograph the hell out of this. So like when you're watching them fight, it's like the camera doesn't really cut away for a while, and you're like, well, I know that's Keanu Reeves getting the shit kicked out of him. Like you know, like there's a lot of scenes where, for me, as a filmmaker, watching it, going like, wow, he's really dedicated to this movie because he's still like I know that's not a stuntman.
Yeah,
that might be a stuntman. No, I know that's
It's like, kind of cool too because you almost feel as a moviegoer when they're doing these longer cuts, you're almost getting like beat down with them. You're like, holy shit! Like, how is he still going?
It is kind of exhausting watching it, and but it's good though. It's good because it adds a lot more realism to it when you're like they're not like punching and hitting and like as fast as they can. It's like
there's a noticeable slowdown.
There's a noticeable like realism to like how fast that where he like slows down and he's like not hitting
as hard
as fast still as hard,
and it's really cool too because like I'd watched another review of the movie beforehand and somebody had mentioned there's a lot of flipping of like but that's judo, and I think that's really cool because like it is a more realistic, I mean I don't know how I feel like it's more realistic. Like if I need to dispatch you, I'm just gonna flip you and get you out of
Yeah.
get you out of my way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It makes sense to be doing it. And he does it a lot in the movie, but like it makes sense. What's funny about this movie is I didn't tell you this before. I tried to like count how many people John Wick dispatched in this movie, just like internally, just like I don't know why. I'm gonna start counting,
Like just
how many people he killed in the movie.
Okay,
because like that's like a stat that people
you had
like
to use a fancy word for that.
Dispatched.
Yeah, why didn't you just say killed?
Well, because
just go on. How many? How many
killed?
Killed.
I got to like 14, and then Halle Berry showed up, and then I lost count. So many people died in this movie. When the Halle Berry and the dog showed up, I was like, I give up. Everybody is dying.
Oh, like when they're in that fight scene. Yeah,
like, literally carnage, and like that was such a cool addition to. That was actually my favorite addition to this movie. Like the motorcycle bit was cool, the horse bit was cool, but like the dogs being involved, I don't know. For some reason, I thought that was so cool.
Well, and like I you get halfway through that scene, that scene,
yeah,
and I'm like, it's like watching a video game.
Yeah,
where it's like and like wave after wave,
yeah,
and they're just like, okay,
yeah,
they're taking their licks, and then like they just keep going, and
yeah,
they got to get through to like the boss level, and oh man, it's so well done.
I got to say, Halle Berry was great in this movie. Like she was like,
I thought her role was going to be a lot bigger.
Yep, so did I.
Than it was, but you know what? It didn't. I didn't feel shortchanged at all.
No, I agree, and like you could tell she put in the effort. I believed her just as much as I do with John Wick.
100%. She did very well.
Yeah, she spent like 6 months or something with those dogs.
Yeah,
which is wild, and like
but like you can see the drastic. You can see the budget increase.
Yeah,
from like
the set pieces are just
John Wick 1, 2, 3.
Yeah, because John Wick 1 is just basically just like his house, like a club scene maybe.
Yeah, there's. I mean, they still go out in New York. Like it still had a budget, but like John Wick 1 till John Wick 2, like there's a massive budget increase there. And then you get from like John Wick 2 to 3, like it's
when it goes like international. Well, I guess the other one did too. It goes to like Rome, I think. Yeah, John Wick 2, he's in like that not Coliseum, but like that that big party thing. You're absolutely right though. Like you can just tell it's like, how can we make this even crazier?
They're like, all right, let's see how much money
Let's have him fight with horses.
Yeah. Well, the next one, oh my god, I can't wait for John Wick in space. Like that's gonna be unreal.
Oh yeah, when he gets like put into
that shit, the spoiler. Oh yeah,
you're right.
Fuck, my bad. My bad. But I think that's pretty much like everything that's kind of happened this week.
Yeah, for sure.
In terms of go see John Wick 3. Any of those trailers that we talked about, watch them, and also get on board with Robert Pattinson being Batman, because it's not a bad thing, it's a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
I genuinely think that's a step in the right direction, before we go, let's talk about James Gunn for a sec.
Okay.
Because James Gunn getting rehired, very good thing. Yep. Very good thing, both for the Guardians 3 movie, which we already know what Guardians 3 is going to be.
Yeah.
Roughly.
Mm-hmm. We know the players involved.
As Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yeah.
We know it's a very good thing for that movie, but it's also a good thing for the cancel culture that's kind of taken over everything, where it's just like that dude was like I actually read an article that it was like 3 nights ago. It was like the first time he had talked about the situation publicly since it happened. And when it happened, he didn't blame anyone else for it happening. The only person he blamed was himself. And he said some shit that he shouldn't have. Or like he made some jokes, like some really off-color jokes that like
they were pretty like.
I never read the actual jokes, so I don't know what was actually said. I just know that it had to deal with like pedophilia or whatever, and kind of making light of. And it's like, okay, but everyone, given the opportunity to grow, which he was, and given the fact that like the entire cast and crew rallied behind him so hard that they were like, we're not doing the movie unless it's with James Gunn. like that kind of lends itself to that dude's character and kind of how he operates as a human being within the workplace and kind of so it's a step in the right direction to kind of, and I'm not like agreeing with the fact that I'm not agreeing nor disagreeing with the fact that he was fired. I was bummed that he was fired because
I was too.
He seems, I've never met him, but he seems like a genuinely kind of rad dude.
Yeah.
His brother as well, who's also in those movies. But of course, this goes back to the desperation thing I was talking about with Warner Brothers, where James Gunn gets fired from Marvel.
Yep.
Warner Brothers picks him up immediately.
For Suicide Squad 2, right?
Yep. Which I found out he's still doing.
Yes, he's doing that.
He's still doing Suicide Squad 2, and then he's going back to Marvel and working and doing Guardians 3.
Yeah.
The Guardians 3 that they were always going to use his script for Guardians 3.
Yeah.
It just now he gets to direct it as well,
Yeah.
and everybody's, it's all copacetic, whatever. But that's not what I want to talk about. I don't want to talk about the him getting rehired. I want to talk about Suicide Squad 2.
Okay.
Just briefly. We don't know anything about it. We don't know.
Didn't Will Smith drop out of it?
I have no idea. I don't know anything about it beyond the fact that James Gunn is doing it. Now, that to me is kind of because David Ayer is an excellent director.
Yes.
David Ayer is a fantastic fucking director. End of Watch.
No, now that's all escaping me. Well, there was one movie. The only movie I can think of was that Schwarzenegger movie, which I didn't really like.
Which one was that? It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Either way, dude's a fantastic director.
Oh, Fury. Brad Pitt.
I haven't seen that one
yet.
I've heard that's a really fucking good movie, though. So, David Ayer had a vision.
Mm-hmm.
And they released that first trailer at Comic-Con, that first Suicide Squad trailer that was like dark and gritty and like was like holy shit, like oh my god, like
I was insanely hyped for the first Suicide Squad.
So was I, and Warner Brothers is on the right track. Like looks like we're gonna get some DC shit that like finally looks good. Mm-hmm. And then the studio decided that the movie didn't look fun enough. So then they brought that company in to recut a new trailer for them, and that's when we got like the kind of pastel colors and the Bohemian Rhapsody and the more all of a sudden like the trailer is like super fun and it looks like a really fun movie. And it's like, oh,
the tone shifted so much.
The tone shifted so much, and the studio liked it so much that they were like, hey, we like your trailer. Why don't you come cut a version of the movie for us? Like make the movie more fun. Mm-hmm. So that's what they did.
So they actually.
So the company
edited
the company that edited the trailer, the more fun trailer, was the one who cut Suicide Squad together, and the version of Suicide Squad we saw in theaters was not David Ayer's vision. It was the version that this company had cut to make it more fun and fucking yes. So the saddest part about that for me is the fact that we'll never see David Ayer's original vision for that, like the dark, gritty, and like whatever he had sought out. And I mean, divorcing ourselves from the fact that like I still kind of hold out hope that like maybe Jared Leto's Joker had been good.
Yeah.
At some point.
He said he filmed a lot.
I know, that's the thing. Like they filmed he said they filmed enough for like an entire Joker movie.
Yeah.
And like 90% of it was cut out. And that's why I kind of like think like, well, maybe there was some stuff in there that we didn't get to see that may have been good.
Yeah.
And I have a friend who would argue that that's not the case and that he was shit from the beginning.
Hey, it's me, your friend.
Okay, fair enough. I don't know. I think I'm trying to play devil's advocate a little bit too much with that, where it's like I'm trying to kind of. Yeah. I just will never see it, but that's not the point. The point being that like, okay, is James Gunn enough to save Suicide Squad 2? Keeping in mind that Joss Whedon couldn't save Justice League when he was.
Oh my god. Well, I mean, I think the Warner Brothers has shown time and again that they're not willing to take risks. And they I guess they have too many. You had mentioned this before. Too many.
They're way too meddlesome.
Yes.
Way too.
I would hope so. If they've learned anything, is like from the past.
Just let the filmmaker do what they want.
From the past wins of Marvel. Like, let the director. You hire James Gunn for a reason. Like, look at the like. Yeah, I would hope so. Like, I think like. I would assume that James Gunn took that role, took on that position with that in mind. Like, listen, like the final cut is mine. I don't know if that can be changed later on, or they can still kind of muscle their way in there.
I don't know,
but
I don't think any directors can negotiate. Certain, like in the case of like Christopher Nolan. And like
there's very few who can. Like
an Interstellar. Like ultimately, at the end of the day, Christopher Nolan's going to be like, well, yeah, final cut is my say on Interstellar.
Yeah,
you know, and then something that like on like a bigger property, maybe like The Dark Knight, maybe Christopher Nolan doesn't have final cut say.
Right.
I don't know, but the only reason I ask is because is it worth doing a Suicide Squad 2 at this point, or is it worth just rebooting it and just doing Suicide Squad 1.5?
I literally think we should pretend that everything before Shazam doesn't exist.
That's kind of what I think too.
Yeah. 100%.
So I don't know. That I just wanted to kind of point that out. That was one thing that I had
thought about.
I don't know. Let us know what you think. Do you think that James Gunn should just reboot Suicide Squad? Or do you think he should continue on with Suicide Squad 2 and then leave that dumpster fire behind and go on to make Guardians 3?
Yeah.
But all that and more, we'll catch you next week on Jared and Lincoln Go to the Movies. For this episode, I'm Lincoln.
I'm Jared. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yes, please like, comment, subscribe to the channel so we can keep doing it. And yeah, go to the movies.
I have to do that every time.
I know you do.
That's my thing.
Don't do it.
No, do 2 this time.
You're gonna do? What are you, Richard Nixon? I am not a crook.